Hello my fellow developers and welcome to this video where I'm going to help you set up Shadcn UI in our application. So the first thing is to go to their website and then go to components and then go to installation, and this is going to be our guide to install it in Next.js. So we click that, and the first thing is to create a Next.js project. We have already done that, so there is no need to do that. So now we need to run the CLI to install Shadcn UI. So we got to copy that, and I'm using bun, so I'm going to choose the option for bun. And then I'm going to go back to my application and then simply open the terminal. Let me stop the server right now and let me paste that and then click enter. And this is simply going to start the setup. So we're going to use the default styling. You can choose any of the styling right here. They're quite very similar. So I'm just going to go with Slate. And for this one, are we going to use CSS variables? I'm going to say yes. And this is simply going to initialize everything. And this is done. So if you go back right now to their website, you say configure components.json. So this one is the configurations for the configuration for our Shadcn UI. So by going back to our application, we can now close the terminal and then go back to our component.json right here. And this is like the whole configurations and configuration needed. So we choose the style to be default, but you can actually change it right here. For our Tailwind, the configuration file is the tailwind.config.ts. And then for the CSS, it is inside the source folder, then the app, then global.css. Then the base color, we have choose this one. And are we using CSS variables? True. So all the things that we have chosen in the installation process are here. So for the components right now, are where the files or the components that we're going to download are going to be installed at. For example, let's say I want to install a button. When I install it, I'm going to find this in the components folder, which is this folder that we have right. So you see these components, this empty folder inside the source. This is where we're going to have the components, and those are the aliases. So whenever I want to import something from there, I will use the add and then / component, then / the component that I would want. For example, / button or / like input, whatever. So this is it for it. So this was for the component.json. Okay. So inside the lib right here, we have the utils.ts. So simply, this is a function which is cn that merges the classes, so we don't have any conflicts with the class names for Tailwind CSS. So that's it for it. Now let me help you install the components that we will need. So for example, I'm gonna go now and open the terminal. So if you go back to the website, let's say I want to go back to components and then I choose something like a button, okay, which is the most basic example. So I've chosen, where is it? So this is the button. So as you can see, this is the button. The thing that I love about Shadcn UI is that it's very customizable. So it's not something that you take and you cannot customize it, or you only can customize the color or something. No, you can take this button and actually customize everything about it, change it to a whole different button with a whole different functionality and simply use it. So that's what's beautiful about it. So install it. You can just simply copy it manually if you want to. This is the installation process. We're going to need the React slots and then simply copy the component right here and then call it whenever we want to. Also, you can just simply use the CLI and use this Shadcn -UI at latest and then add button and we'll install the button. But because we're gonna use like probably most of the components that we have right in our dashboard, so what I rather do is install everything. Okay, so to do that, I'm just gonna copy this one and I'm gonna choose button, go back to our application, and then simply I'm gonna paste that. But instead of the button, I'm just gonna go add and then dots if I remember, and then click enter. And actually that's not it. We're just gonna go add. Okay, sorry, just add like this and then click enter. And simply you can see the components right here that we can choose. So I can use the arrows. So right here you can see any components. I can click space to choose the components that I want, okay, to install. So for me, I'm gonna install everything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna click the letter A in the keyboard, and that's gonna select every single component. And when we do that, I can just simply click enter right now, and it's gonna start installing all the components. So if you see right here, the components folder, we're gonna have another folder that is called UI, and it's going to start installing all the components that we will need. So for now, if I want to use a certain component, I can just go to my application right here. So this is like the home page. I can go and call the button components. So we have to import it from components. So as components /UI, then button, and that's it. And we have this button, and we can add click here right here as a text. So now if you go back to our application, so first of all, I want to start the server. So I'm just going to go .dev again. So, and I can go back now to my application, and then this is the website. So let me refresh. So this is what we have, and we have this button that we added using our Shadcn UI. So this button that you have right here is actually very customizable. So by going back to our application, we can go right here and choose what variant we can choose from. So you can see that there are a few variants. And how do you know the styling for the variants? If you go back to the UI folder and choose the button, you can see right here, these are the variants. So if we choose a variant like destructive, it's going to apply this class name. If we choose the outline, it's going to apply this class names and this styling, okay? So depending on your needs for your website, you can go back to this button file and then simply start creating your variant. So you can go right there and you can call this custom, for example, and apply the styling that you want for it. And then simply in the variant, you choose the custom and it will apply the stylings you added right here. The same for size, you can choose one of the sizes, apply yours, and also here you just choose the default ones, okay? So for the variant, the default one is going to be the default, which is this one right here. You can change this, for example, instead of the default, you can make it like the secondary or anything you want, okay? And that's it. And yeah, now if we go back to the variants and change it to something destructive and save, I go back to my application and you can see this is the destructive variant. You see, very nice. And that's why we love Shadcn UI. It's very customizable. So you can take their library and just simply change it to create a whole new library that works for you. And that's why it is very likable and lovable by every developer, and is actually used a lot because of the flexibility that they offer. So yeah, that's it for this video. Just help you install the Shadcn UI library and give you a brief utilization for it, and that's it. Yeah, of course we can change this later so something more advanced, and that's what we will do in the next videos. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next video as usual.